Hello and welcome to my channel, Crochet and Copy. My name is Judy.
In this tutorial, I'll show you how to make this lovely beanie. And for us to get the design and pattern for our beanie, we use the moss stitch and just change the color of our yarn. And I'll show you how to do that, okay? So no worries. I'll show you some others that I did. I did this one and did a different way of doing the little pom-pom. Another one. Of course, as you see, I just changed the color of the yarn. And that's it. That's all I did. And lastly with this one, I didn't do the pom-pom. And I just rolled up. Because I think it looks better with this one. So different color yarn, just showing you different options, how you get it, how it comes out. So I wanted to let you know in this tutorial, I'm not going to show you how to actually use the pom-pom maker to make the pom-pom, because I did use a pom-pom maker to make our pom-pom. All I'm going to show you is how to attach it to our beanie in this tutorial and how to actually make the beanie. All right, so you're aware of that. So check out the description, and in this description I put the tutorial that I did previously for how to use a pom-pom maker.
Here is the measurement for our beanie.
So these are supplies you're going to be using to make our beanie. I go over them with you. The yarn we're using is from the Red Heart Super Saver. It's the medium 4 and the color is Cornmeal, and it's 364 yards. We're not going to need all of that to complete our project, but this is the one I'm using, so I just want to let you know. And also too, we're going to be using this as our main color, and then this will be our second color, the white. So everything is the same, it's just the white we're going to be using, okay? And we're also going to be using the pom-pom maker. I wanted to show you that, and it's the Clover pom-pom maker. We're going to be using the larger size in our case, and it's the 85 millimeter. It's a 3 3/8 inches. Right, so the larger one in our package. And then we're going to be using 2 separate hooks. The first hook is a smaller one. It's the US G6. It's the 4.00 millimeter. And our larger hook is going to be our US J10. It's the 6.00 millimeter. And we're going to be using our yarn needle, a scissors, and we're going to be using a stitch marker. I'll show you why I say it's just we're going to use it. It's not really necessary. If you could remember, I'll show you when we get there why I say that. But I'm going to use one little stitch marker, okay? We're going to start off by using the smaller hook, and that's the USG6. It's the 4.00 millimeter. And we're going to start off with our main color yarn, and that's the Cornmeal. Now to get our yarn attached to our hook, we do a slip knot stitch, and this is how I do my slip knot stitch. If you have another method of doing it, go ahead. All right, so I'll just show you how I do mine. So I take the yarn, drape it over my 2 fingers, I let it fall to the back, take my hook, put it between my 2 fingers, and I pull up a loop of yarn, and I have a little knot and tighten that knot against my hook. And that's a slip knot stitch. Now we have our yarn attached to our hook. So what we're going to do is 65 chain. And the chain is simply yarn over your hook, pull through, 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 yarn over your hook, pull through. And that's how simple it is to do a chain. But when you're doing your chain, keep it as loose as you can, okay? I'll show you why when we get there. But do 65 chain, and when you finish that, I'll meet you there. Okay, so we did 65 chain, and that's how we look. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a single crochet in the second chain from our hook. All right, so our hook is this one. That will be the first chain, and the second chain will be right here, the second one. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to use the back of our chain, the little bars in the back. You turn it to the back, you see those little bars. I know if the first time you're trying it, it's kind of like weird, what, but just turn it to the back so it face you, and then we're going to be using there. That's why I said to keep your chain loose, because then this is what helps it better. If it's too tight, it's hard to work in. So we're going to be using the second chain from our hook. So a single crochet is you go into that chain. Remember, we're using the back of it, the bar, and then you're going to do one single crochet there. So yarn over your hook, and you're going to pull up a loop of yarn. You have 2 loops of yarn on your hook. Yarn over, and you're going to pull straight across those 2 loops of yarn you have on your hook, and that's how you do a single crochet. So that's our first one. So now for the remainder of our chain that we made till we get to the end, all you're going to do is just do 1 single crochet. I'll show you again how to do the single crochet. Go into that chain, pull up a loop of yarn, 2 loops of yarn on your hook, yarn over, pull across 2 of them at the same time. Single crochet. Show you one more time. Go into that chain, pull up a loop of yarn, 2 loops of yarn remaining on your hook. You want to yarn over and pull across 2 of them at the same time. So that's how you do a single crochet. So keep going with that pattern till you get to the end, and I'll show you what to do next. Now we made it to the end, and we made sure that we had our 64 stitches, because when we started with 65, remember? So now when you finish off with 64. So make sure you have your 64. So this is going to be referred to as our front side of our work. And remember, I said I'm going to use a stitch marker, although it's not really necessary for this pattern, but for me, when I refer to it so you can understand what I'm telling you, I wanted to make sure we have it marked. Okay, so I'm going to go through the first part of the stitches, just the top layer, and I don't come out in the back, so it don't mess me up when I'm working back on the next row. Start row 2. So just pick up a few of the stitches in the front, put it anywhere in the middle. I just eyeball it. Okay, so put it there, and then we know this will be the front of our work. We're going to start row 2, and to start row 2, you're going to chain 1 and turn our work. So in each of our stitch from row 1, we're going to put 1 single crochet. And you know how to do a single crochet, because that's what we've been doing. So go ahead and put it in that first stitch right there. That will be our first single crochet. And you're going to do this till you get all the way to the end of your row by putting 1 single crochet in each stitch. And remember, we're not increasing, so you're going to still have your, make sure you have your 64 when you get to the other end. So keep on working with that, and then I'll show you what to do next. So we completed row 2, and we have our 64 stitches. So to start row 3, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work, and that first stitch right there, we're going to put 1 single crochet. So that's it. And remember to keep your stitch loose, not tight. Don't, if you crochet tight, it makes it a little harder. So try to keep your stitch as loose as you go. Okay, so what you're going to do now, I'm not going to show you the rest for, I'll tell you in a minute, this row. So for row 3, just do exactly what we just did for row 2, and then you're going to do the same thing also for row 4. All right, so row 3 and row 4, just do exactly what we did. Put 1 single crochet, and then make sure you have your 64 stitches. But at the end of row 4, don't do that last stitch that you're going to do when you get to the end of the row, because I'll show you what to do next, because then that's where we change your color. So I want to show you how to do that. All right, so just do row 4 and leave that one last stitch remaining, and I'll show you how to complete it. So we made it to row 4 to complete it, and I tell you to stop with that last stitch we're going to do right here. What we're going to do is we're going to change our color here, because with row 5 we start with our new color. So I'll show you how to do that. So what you're going to do is you're going to start the stitch that we're going to do, the single crochet, and you're not going to complete it. So you know we've been doing the single crochet, so just pull up that loop of yarn, hold those 2 loops of yarn on your hook, and we're going to drop the old color yarn. And now we grab our new color yarn. And what you're going to do is just take the new color yarn, give it a tail because we're going to tuck it in later, all right? And then what you're going to do is just yarn over your hook, and you're going to complete this single crochet in this stitch with that white yarn now that we added, or new yarn. Okay, so pull it across, and that single crochet is completed, and we're going to start using our white yarn now. And that's how simple it is to change our color of our yarn. And here now is also where we're going to change our hook size. Okay, so now I grab the larger size of our hook, and it's the US J10, and it's the 6.00 millimeter. So now that's what we're going to change to our larger hook. So to start row 5, we change our hook and we change our color for yarn. What you're going to do now with the main color of our yarn, the cornmeal, you're just going to leave it there. We're not going to cut it off because we're going to use it and come back to it, all right? So just leave it there. Don't worry about it. So now we're going to start row 5. So to start row 5, what you're going to do is you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and then you're going to turn your work. You could go ahead and tuck on the main color yarn so it could hold our stitches in place, because we added that new yarn. So if you want to do that, that's up to you. So this is the pattern that we're going to be following for row 5. So now for row 5, the first stitch where we've been putting that single crochet right here, we're going to skip that stitch, and the next stitch right here, we're going to put our first single crochet. All right, so you know how to do the single crochet. So put a single crochet there, and then you're going to chain 1. So this is the pattern that we're going to follow for row 5. So skip the next stitch, and then the following stitch you put a single crochet and you chain your 1. Show you again the pattern. Skip the next stitch, and the following stitch a single crochet and chain 1. So that's the pattern you're going to follow for row 5. So you're going to skip that stitch, and then the following stitch right here you're going to put a single crochet, skip the stitch, put a single crochet. So keep on doing that till you get to the end of our row, and make sure at the end of the row this will be your last stitch right here for the end of your row, and make sure you put a single crochet there, that you end off with the single crochet there, because that's how the pattern is going to get you to there. Okay, so make sure there's a single crochet right there. So that's the pattern we're going to be following for row 5, and I'm not going to show you how to do the completion of row 5. You go ahead and do it, and when we meet at the end, I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so we complete row 5 with that pattern, and the pattern had us put that last single crochet right there in the last stitch. So now for row 6. For row 6, we're going to chain our 2, 1, 2, and we're going to turn our work. So this is the pattern we're going to follow for row 6. So our first chain space right here, we're going to put our first single crochet right there. So go into that space, and you're going to put a single crochet, and then you're going to chain 1, and then the next chain space right here, not the single crochet. And how you could tell, give you a little hint for finding this space versus the single crochet. How you could do that is the single crochet, it makes a V shape. So right here you see that V, that's the single crochet. So we're not going to go into the single crochet. All right, you're going into the chain 1 space from the previous row right there, and right here, and right here. So don't go into the V. The V is the single crochet. That's where we put our single crochet. All right, so following our pattern, because we chain our 1 already, you go into the next chain space, you put a single crochet there, chain your 1, find your next chain space from the previous row, put a single crochet there, and chain 1. So that's all you're going to do. I'm not going to show you how to do the following till you get to the end of row 6, but don't finish that last pattern that we have, because the last one we have right here is that V. So that's going to be the single crochet, and then you have that little, when we made the from the previous row, our chain 2 is right here. I'll show you what to do there. Okay, so go ahead and work it till you get right there, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so we got to the end to do. So now we have that last single crochet right here. Remember, it's the V, and we have the space between where we did, when we started this row, we chained 2. So we're going to go in there, and we're going to put our last single crochet right there. Okay, so not in the single crochet, because we already chained our 1. We're following our pattern that we had for row 6. So you're going to go into it, and you're going to pull up a loop, and here also we're going to change our color. And you remember how to change the color. I'll show you again. So you're going to drop the color that we're working with, and that's the white, and we go back to the cornmeal color, the main color of our yarn, and we're going to pick it up because we came back to where we had changed to the new color, being the white. Okay, so what you're going to do, you're going to complete that single crochet with the new color yarn being the main color. Okay, because this is where we're going to start changing our colors. Okay, and how we're going to do it, I explain a little bit more, but let's complete this stitch. So you're going to change the color and complete this stitch by yarning over, and you're going to pull across those 2 stitches we have to complete our single crochet. As I said, you could tug on it, being the white yarn that we were working and drop, so you could hold it so you could work with it better. So now what you're going to do is you're going to chain your 2, 1, 2, and that's to start row 7. So we're going to go ahead and turn our work so that we could start row 7. So we turn our work, and so now we're going to start row 7. So exactly everything we did for row 6 we're going to do here for row 7. So what we're going to do is find our first chain 1 space, and that's right here, because this would be our first single crochet. We're not going to go in there because remember, it shapes like that V. The single crochet makes that V. So find your chain 1 space, and you're going to put your first single crochet right there, and then you're going to chain your 1, find your next chain space right there, and put your single crochet there, and then you chain your 1, find your next chain space right there, put a single crochet there, and chain 1. So that's all you're going to do, and you're going to repeat this pattern for our, basically for our little beanie. Okay, that's all we're going to do. So what I'm going to do now is just explain to you what we need to do to make out our little beanie, our pattern we're going to follow, because you get the idea of what we're doing here. So what you're going to do now, I'm not going to show you the rest till the rows that we need to make our beanie. We're going to go all the way up to row 26, and how you're going to get there is follow what we just did. So you're going to repeat row 6, and whenever you finish 2 rows of that color, you switch over back to the next color. Okay, so do 2 rows of the, because next what we're going to do is now the cornmeal color. So you're going to do this row, row 7 and row 8 with the cornmeal, and then you're going to switch back to your white. So the following 2 rows, do your white, And then you're going to keep that pattern and just repeat that one row of row 6 of how you make the moss stitch. And that's it. That's all we need to do. So when you finish that, because I won't show you how to do the rest, you get the hint of it, what we've been doing. So work all the way up to row 26, and when you get there at the last stitch, I'll show you what to do next. Okay, row 26. Keep a track of your rows, jot it down. That's what helps me. I jot it down, make sure I know, and remember to change, because we're always going to come back to this side where we change our color. All right, we made it up to row 26, and I changed my color already to start row 27, but I just wanted to show you how we look so far. So that's when we get up to row 26. Okay, so now we're going to start row 27. So to start row 27, what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work. So now for row 27, we're going to put 1 single crochet in each of our stitch. Okay, so for that first single crochet right here, go ahead and put a single crochet. And then you see where we had our chain 1 space. We're not going to put it into the space what we've been doing to get our moss stitch design. We're going to go into the actual chain. Okay, hopefully you can see good. So go into the chain itself, and then you're going to just put a single crochet there. All right, so that's the pattern that we're going to follow till we get to the end of the row. All right, so I'll show you a couple more times so you know, because we changed it up a little bit. So single crochet right here, because remember this is our V, what I've been doing, and just put a single crochet right there and into the chain space itself. The chain, I should say, not the space, but the chain. Go right in there. And as I said, keep your stitch loose, because this is where we need to, it could be a little hard to get in there. All right, so single crochet and into the actual chain, because the chain has those 2 stitches there, the front loop and the back loop. So we're just going into the chain itself to put the single crochet. And that's how we look when we put the single crochet in each of our stitch. So I'm not going to show you the rest, because you get the what we're doing, but go ahead and do it till you get to the end. And when you get to the end, I'll show you what to do next. That's it. We made it to do our last stitch for this row, for row 27. And like we've been doing, we find that chain 2 space from the previous row, and we're going to put our last single crochet right here. And then by doing that, we get our 64 stitches. So that's for completion of row 27. Now to start row 28, you're going to chain your 1, and you're going to turn your work. So for row 28, all you're going to do is put 1 single crochet in each of our stitch from the previous row, so that you will get, at the end, you will get your 64 stitches. All right, so just 1 single crochet, go ahead and put into each of our stitches. I'm not going to show you how to do the rest of the rows we need. And now what we're going to do is for row 28, 29, and 30, all you're going to do is just do a single crochet, and you're not going to change to the white. All right, just keep the main color that we have, working with that, don't change it. And when you get to row 30, just stop, and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so we're at row 28, so do row complete 28, do 29 and 30, and when you finish that, I'll meet you there. So we made it to the end of row 30. So we complete that last single crochet right there. So now what you're going to do is you're going to chain 1, and you're going to pull up a nice size loop, because we're going to tuck it in. And you just, I'm going to grab my scissors, you grab your scissors too, and you cut it off, and then go ahead and also cut off the white yarn. Okay, and I'll show you how to weave it in, and then we move on to the next process. Okay, so I went ahead and attached my yarn needle to my yarn, And of course you give them a little tail because we're going to tuck them in. All right, and I'll show you how I tuck in my tails. Okay, so we made that single crochet so you could just tighten it up by pulling on it. Now I'll show you how to weave in the end. I'm going to weave my end inside because we remember we have our stitch marker that told us where our front is. So I'm going to weave it in here in the inside of our hat so it doesn't show from the outside. Okay, so go ahead and make sure you're inside, and then we're going to weave it in. So I'm just going to go underneath a couple of the stitches to start with, pull it in, and then just find different stitches that I could hide it under. And of course I'm not coming out to the front of my work. Okay, so I'm going to go different back and forth to hide it as best as I can. And that's all we're going to do. All right, so with all the other ends that we have, you go ahead and do that, and then when you finish that, I'll meet you there. All right, I think that's good enough. So I'm going to grab my scissors and cut it off, and like I said, just go ahead and do the others that we have, and then I'll show you the next part. So that's it. We tuck in our ends, and that's how we look. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fold it in half so that we can sew up and close up our end. And what we're doing is when we fold it, we're going to sew on the right side. So remember we had our little stitch marker. So that's a reminder where we started on our right side. So we're going to start from here, from the bottom, and we're going to go up to the top of our beanie, and we're going to sew it up. So fold it in half, and what you're going to do is you're going to cut off the main color yarn, and you're going to do about, say, 45 to 50 inches so that we can close up the sides and the top of our beanie. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and I'm going to attach my yarn needle, and I'll show you what to do next. So I went ahead and attached my yarn needle to the yarn that we need, that we cut off. So now, since we're not attached the yarn, we're just going to make sure that we attach it. So remember, we're sewing on the right side. So I'm going to take my needle and just bring it through that first part of our crochet piece. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little knot right here, but don't tighten it all the way. Okay, and we're going to pull it, and then we're going to pull our yarn through. This is just to help us secure it, and that's it. All right, so it's secure there now. Okay, so tighten it up. There you go. Okay, so now we're attached. So now we're going to use the mattress stitch to sew up our sides. And the mattress stitch consists of you weaving in and out, in and out. I'll show you as we go. So now you're going to go to the bottom of the other piece and just pull it through. And then you're going to come back under the other piece. All right, so just find the stitches as you go along because we're closing it up. All right, and then go back under the other piece. I know it looks like, or if you could help you to understand, it's like when you're doing the shoe and you put in the lace, you're lacing it up. That's how it's like that, similar to that. So you go under, and you want to keep your stitches as even as you go, or as straight, so that everything matches up. Because you see we have the white, and then we have the main color, and we have the white. So you want to, that's why we're doing it on the right side, so we keep it lined up, so when we get to the end, we're okay. It's not like it shows how the rows or mismatch, but if it's So that's all we're doing. And then what I like to do is turn it towards me and just give it a little tug now and again to make sure I'm doing it right. So I'll show you a couple more times. So you just go back under, find the stitches, you come out. And go back under the other side. I'm trying to do it plus show you, so hopefully you can see this. I'm trying to make it as good as I can in the video. All right, so under, so that's all you're gonna do. All right, and then back under. See, make sure your white lines up with your white. It looks nice that way, okay? So continue doing that, and when you get to the top, the crown of our beanie, I'll show you what to do next, okay? And remember, gauge it, give it a little tug. Make sure it looks nice as you go along. And I'll continue doing it, and you keep on working in yours. Make sure it looks nice. At this point, you still could undo it if it doesn't look nice to you, and start over, okay? So line it up, make sure they're matched perfectly. And when you finish that, when you get to the top, I'll show you what to do. So we made it to the top, to start closing up the top, and that's how we look when we use the matcher stitch to close up the side, and that's inside. So now we're going to do the top. So to close up the top, what we're going to use is we're going to use the top of our stitch, because with the single crochet has the front post and the back post. So we're going to just use the front post, and I'll show you how we do that. You go first needle in, and then come around our yarn needle, go around, in and out, in and out. So we're picking up them as we go along, and do a couple more, and then I show you. So it's in and out, in and out, in and out of our last row, the single crochet. And then here, this is how we do it. And then you're going to start, see, start closing it up, tighten it up that way, okay? So that's what we're doing. We're going to close it up that way. So you go in, just the front loop, okay, of the single crochet. So in and out, in and out. And as you go along, don't have to be tight yet, but just, you see how the idea is that it's closing up, okay? It's getting smaller as we go along. All right. Okay, so we made it back to where we started to close up the top. So now you could go ahead and just pull it tightly. Not too tight, you don't want to pop your yarn, but you feel it when you do it, okay? So just give it little tugs as you go. And then we're going to start, see, you still have a hole. So you're going to do the same thing that we just did. And we're just going to, you use your judgment, but you're going to close it up, okay? We want to get close. So you want to go ahead and do that as many times as you need to, or you feel comfortable with, till we're all closed, nicely closed, okay? I think that's good enough. It looks good to me. So what I'm going to do is just poke my needle inside, and then I'm going to weave it inside, okay? So that I could hide that yarn. So that's all I'm going to do. And then I'm going to cut it off. So just feel it and see how it, you know, when you do it, you're going to see. All right. So that's all I'm going to do. Grab my scissors and I'm going to cut it off. And then I'll show you what to do next. So now that's how we look. think it came out pretty nice. Looks pretty good. So now we're going to attach our little pom-pom. Remember I told you I'm not going to show you how to make the pom-pom in this tutorial, but I'm going to show you how to attach it. Okay, so that's how it looks. As you see, I did a full white pom-pom. I think it's so cute. It's so fluffy. Anyway, you see I have 2 strands coming from my pom-pom. So I just attached my yarn needle to just one of them, because I'll show you how we're going to attach it. And of course, this is the crown of our beanie. So we're not going to go in the center of our crown. What we're going to do is going to go to the side. I'll say about 1.5 inches or 1 inch, about there. So we're going to go through it, and then we're going to bring it inside. So we're going to bring that yarn inside. And I'm going to take off my yarn needle, because I'm going to do the same thing for the other piece of yarn that I have. I'm just going to attach my yarn needle to that one so I could bring it inside. Okay, so now I have one inside. So the next, I'm spacing it out, okay, because we want it to, when we do the little pom-pom, we don't want it to be too loose. So you see how that one is not at the center. So you're going to try to line it up and move it like another, not, this is the direct center for a little beanie, but we're going to go here. So like I said, like 1 inch or 1.5 inches away from the center, and just bring in. This is in order just to pull in our strands to get it inside. That's all we're doing, okay? So now this is looking inside the beanie, and I have my 2 strands that I brought inside. So now we're just going to make knots as we go along to secure our little pom-pom to the crown of our beanie, okay? So that's all you're going to do. And you could gauge it and see as you go along to make sure that the little pom-pom stays nice and secure. So I want to get the first knot to be really tight. So tighten it, and then sometimes I do this. I put my yarn needle there so it could help me for the next tie, because the next tie I want it to be close, as tight as I can against the first knot, so that my beanie can stay and it's not flippity floppity too much. I do want it to move, but not to be too loose, okay? So that's what we're doing. We're just going to tie knots inside. Since we already give it quite a few knots there to tighten it up, I just attach my yarn needle. This is what I'm showing you what I do. I attach my yarn needle to one of the strands, and I'm just going to hide then I'm going to cut it off. You know, I don't think it's necessary to do this, but when I cut it, I just don't want that yarn to be showing it, although it's inside of our little beanie. Okay, so I don't want it to be showing. And then this is just a little extra step I think I'm doing, so I don't see it. And then I'm going to cut this one off, grab my scissors, and that's it. I'm going to do the same thing for this one, and then whatever other little tails we have, and then of course you could take out your stitch marker. So this is the final product. We finished. Yes, we did it. So that's the inside, how we look when we attach our pom-pom to our beanie, and this is how we look. I think it came out pretty nice. I like the moss stitch, and then when you change your yarn, it makes it look so pretty, so pretty, so pretty. So that's it. We are finished. We complete making our beanie. You did wonderful work. So thank you for watching. Till next time. Bye-bye.